Welcome to the Data Imaginary broadcast. Today I'm speaking with artist Patrick Pound. Pound is an artist and associate professor of art and performance in the Faculty of Arts and Education, Deakin University. He explores how public collections can be reformulated as an artistic medium through which to interrogate how items are found for collections and made to hold particular ideas. Pound also queries the systems of collection used in traditional research on photography and the archive, and the history of documentary photography. How would you frame your practice with collection and photography in relation to a lineage?
I tend to think of my work as coming more out of literary sources in a way. And I think like most artists, I started sort of collecting things to inform the work, and then they gradually became the work. And I wanted to sort of investigate how we might find and make things, and how when we put them together and align things, how they might hold and express ideas differently. And then the collections became tragicomic in a way. I used to also collect literature on the idea of things, from Henry James's The Spoils of Point and Twain's fantastic 5-page list of things.
In Kate Palmer Alber's The Pig and the Algorithm, she wrote about how the photographic algorithms that go on in things like Instagram were already discarding images that didn't fit the images that we had previously selected.
One of the things about the discard is that the mistake has slowly being deleted, shall we say, so we don't see it. It's not printed out anymore. So I collect lots of mistakes, everything from the photographer's thumb to the camera strap to the photographer's shadow. So that's another nostalgia in a way of these old material objects. But for me, there is definitely some sort of algorithmic effect in our searching and sorting of images and objects.
Directly opposite your work is Joanna Moll's work in the exhibition, The Hidden Life of an Amazon User 2019. And she's printed out the code involved in purchasing Jeff Bezos' self-help guide to winning at life. Joanna's work is positioned opposite From Zamfir to Zafir at Griffith University Art Museum. So from your perspective, as a curator and a creator of a collection, do you see your work in any relationship with that kind of work, where Moll has really taken on data as a destructive force?
I totally do see connections. I tend to not set up a work that is made to expose a system, really. So I won't make a work that's necessarily about race or class or gender. You collect 100 photographers' shadows and you're going to get something about all of those things in there.
How do you think about curating from your perspective as someone who is also a curator?
My work is largely a shopping project. When I'm collecting these things, for me, it's about combining things in a surprising way so you see them anew. And there's also a tad of the surrealist novel.
Do you think of the works as having individual captions or titles to them, the images or the objects, or it's the combination of them that makes the new work that you are the creator of?
It's a bit like a crossword puzzle, which has been done for you, and the viewer's task and the visitor's task is to work out how the things belong in the collection. In a big museum, I usually include at least one object that pretty well no one will get, but they know it belongs and they have to ask somebody. The attachment of words to things is another layer of meaning that could be arbitrary or accurate.
When you describe the installations in that way, it makes it sound to me like a Hitchcock film, and that you've got MacGuffins in there and red herrings.
Yeah.
That's part of the narrative of how that collection came to be together in that context.
I like the poetry of setting a limit on something, collecting within a limit, but then seeing what that constraint does, what gets in under that constraint, and how something still belongs, just the spurious connection of something, which of course, where the search engine tells me what to buy, that's giving over the power to somebody else in a way, which I really like doing.
Do all of those narratives, are they held in the objects, the stories about the objects or the photographs? How do you record that, or how do you relay that?
I think that by putting all of these quite daggy, past their use by date things in installations and in sets, they retain the pattern of the search. For me, it's the objects hold the idea and they perform it, and they poetically are commentators at the same time. The last object bought was when I found a reverse camera that was made for the car, the Zafir car. So I thought, it's looking back on the collection. It's like the algorithm tripping up and it's looking over its shoulder again. So I love those sort of mirror things. And all of my collections have palindromes in them. I try and always put other constraints and tricks in each collection too. All my photo collections have at least one photographer's shadow.